Let's just kind of jump in. Well, first of all, I'll read all the scores because there weren't that many games. We'll read all the scores of all the games, and then we'll kind of talk about the ones that stand out. So Notre Dame beat Navy 42-3 in Dublin, Ireland. Jacksonville State beat UTEP 17-14 in their first FBS game. UMass beat New Mexico State 41-30, matching their win total from a year ago. San Diego State beat Ohio 20-13. Vanderbilt beat Hawaii 35-28. USC beat San Jose State 56-28, and Louisiana Tech beat FIU 22-17. I guess we just start at the beginning, right? Notre Dame Navy?
Yeah.
Notre Dame kind of like crushed Navy. So their first 5 possessions were all touchdowns, and their 6th one, they missed a field goal, and their 7th one, they scored a touchdown again, and their 8th one ended the game. I've been watching Notre Dame football for a long time, Ashton, and I could genuinely say I have not felt that way about watching a quarterback play for my team in well over a decade.
Yeah.
Tell me why
I was thinking no,
tell me why I shouldn't be super encouraged by this team.
You don't have a good reason. You don't have a good reason not to be really encouraged. I was thinking as we were sitting there watching it, well, like, when was the last time you saw quarterback play that good at Notre Dame? It had to have been a really, really long time. He was fantastic. Like, that's just the truth of the matter. He was, and people out there saying, it's just Navy, relax. Hey, this is a Notre Dame team that struggled with Navy a year ago. Navy's given good teams fits over the years. It was a really good performance. It was very encouraging. I think the experience that he had was just so evident. The arm talent was obviously there, but like, he could there was the one touchdown in particular. I think it might have been the second touchdown to Jaden Greathouse, where he like clearly had scanned the field, stepped up into the pocket right before he crosses the line of scrimmage, finds a guy just all alone in the end zone. Mm-hmm. That's veteran. Like, he did not put his head down. He didn't quit scanning. He was always looking till the end, found a guy wide open for a touchdown. Hey, this works for Notre Dame. This really works. The offensive line was really good, and the running attack will be there at Notre Dame. That's going to be there for them this year. But they're going to be balanced. Notre Dame will have a threat. By the way, I text you part of the way through this game. Like, I wonder what's the line on Notre Dame, Ohio State. Ohio State has to go to South Bend. Interesting thing. It is interesting just keep a note on that. They were really good.
Yeah, I was really encouraged by, obviously, Sam Hartman, who we're talking about, did a fantastic job at quarterback there. But also just like the rest of the offense. They go 5 deep at running back. All 5 played well. They finally had some receivers look like actual solid Division I receivers, which is not something that we could really say last year. And a huge part of that is clearly the quarterback. I mean, it can't be overstated how going from Drew Pine to Sam Hartman just makes me feel so much better about this team. The offensive line mauled Navy, and I don't even necessarily think their offensive line is significantly better than it was a year ago.
Right.
But when you have that threat in the passing game, it allows it opens up the running game, honestly. Just you can't stack the box. You can't bring everybody. Last year, Navy just brought everybody against Drew Pine in the second half. I think Notre Dame had 6 offensive yards in the second half against Navy last year.
Right.
Because Navy figured out, we can just blitz everybody and Pine won't throw it. And you obviously can't do that. The defense played pretty well, obviously holding Navy to 3 points, but not a whole lot you can learn, I would say, from that. I think you can learn more from the offense because you're actually facing a kind of a regular defense as opposed to the other way around. You're not really facing a regular offense, nothing that resembles anything you'll face the rest of the year.
Right.
I still think Notre Dame's defense is pretty good, but I don't really take anything away from that.
And I think that's fine. Like just take your positives here. Like, you're looking for someone that raises your ceiling, and Sam Hartman absolutely did that. Like, with just no question about it. Notre Dame's going to be a force. Notre Dame's going to be a problem for teams like we already mentioned, Ohio State, but Clemson, USC. These are top 10 teams right now in the AP poll. Notre Dame's going to be an issue for some of these guys. They have definitely raised their ceiling there. Just looking at them, it's week 0. And of course, I'm going to wildly overreact, but that's the point of week 0 games. like Notre Dame, if things go well for them, would have the potential to be a playoff team. Like that could happen. That is a real thing that could happen this year. They have a lot of their big games are ahead of them, obviously, but they're going to have a chance to win each one of them.
Yeah, I would agree. I still don't know that I would pick them to make the playoff, but
I didn't say that. I didn't say they were going. They have a shot. They've got a good shot.
Absolutely, absolutely. The other big game of the day, and we'll talk about some of the other smaller games a little bit, but the other big game was USC beating San Jose State 56-28.
Yeah.
I'll just say, like, kind of as expected, like the offense looked really good. Zachariah Branch, the true freshman receiver, looks like an absolute stud.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams did his thing. Dorian Singer looked good. Had their first touchdown, I believe, the transfer from Arizona. The defense was still a little questionable in several big moments, especially. There was, in the first half I was watching, they gave up like a 3rd and 21 via quarterback run to Chevin Cordero, who everyone kept saying, oh, yeah, this guy's a pretty good quarterback. You know, it was like they were giving them excuses. I mean, we were watching him a year ago when he was Hawaii's quarterback and they were getting railroaded by Vanderbilt.
Right.
I think he's probably a decent quarterback, but it was a little – you would have liked to see a little better performance from USC, especially the end of the half there where they gave up like a 1-minute drive to San Jose State to make it a one-score game going into halftime.
Right.
Nothing definitive to take away from this. Obviously, we know the offense is going to be great, and they probably walk their way to 6-0. But the back half of that schedule is a little tough, and their defense needs to, I think, grow from what we saw in week 0 before. If we expect them to actually win the Pac-12.
With USC, we have them as number 6 in the nation, right? Like, or we don't, but I mean, like the AP poll does, right? So they're currently number 6. They gave up almost 400 yards of offense to San Jose State. San Jose State, not a bad team, but they are nowhere near like the level of a, say, Notre Dame that we talked about. They're in the Pac. USC's in the Pac-12. The Pac-12 is good, like legitimately good, and their schedule's backloaded. So yeah, like they're going to have some really tough games. Going on the road to Eugene, Oregon is going to be very difficult to do. The defense has to massively improve. But for me, this is more just proof of what I thought I already knew. I didn't think USC was a good tackling team. I don't think you can give up 24 first downs to San Jose State and expect to stop anyone else. Like I don't. You didn't get any turnovers off of them either. There was 0 turnovers in the game. 24 first downs is a wild amount. So yeah, I don't feel great like about USC winning the Pac-12. I know I picked them in the preseason. I would like to actively backpedal out of that one after week 0. Can they improve? Do you think USC's defense can improve, or is this just kind of what it is? Like, should we just be used to this now?
They definitely can improve. I think I expected them to be a little better coming out of the gate. Like, we know they have names that they brought in. Bear Alexander, of course, and the linebacker from Oklahoma State, Mason something, I forget. And they have a true freshman linebacker in Tackett Curtis who had a pretty good game. I think, like, if for their sake, I would like to think that it's nice that the schedule's backloaded because it gives your defense a month and a half, really, to learn how to tackle somebody.
Sure. Okay.
They don't need to be great. We've talked about this for years now. Like, they don't need to be great. They just need to be solid. And maybe by Notre Dame, like maybe by that game, they could be solid. I do think. Okay, by the way, all the caveats apply. Oh, it's week 0. You don't want to overreact. But then again, there's no fun in not reacting a little bit. So
that's the point.
Look at it this way. If their defense doesn't get better, they will lose Notre Dame. I'll say that.
They're going to lose a number of games if their defense doesn't get drastically better pretty quickly. Like you said, they've got about 6 weeks to do so before they really get into a tough grind. But the grind is tough at the end. They have a very difficult in schedule. Did you want to talk about some of the other games, like some of the smaller games?
Yeah, I was just going to mention some of those quickly. Like Vanderbilt, Hawaii, probably the other Power 5 team that was playing. A year ago, we saw Vanderbilt just demolish Hawaii in the week 0.
Yeah.
And Hawaii looked like a much better team the second year there under is it Timmy Chang, the old quarterback?
Timmy Chang.
Yeah.
Timmy Chang.
Looked like they had the offense humming a little bit more. Made some great play. Honestly, both both teams had some receivers making ridiculous catches, and kind of impressed. Like Vanderbilt, you would have liked to see them have a bigger margin of victory at the end.
Sure.
I'm maybe just a little more hesitant about like their chances of going bowling this year, but I didn't think they looked bad. I thought that there were a few things that Hawaii made some great catches, made some great plays. Like it could have been Vanderbilt could have won by more. I don't know. They got out of week 0 with a win, so I guess I'll give them
for those of us that bet on Vanderbilt, the preseason win total over under. We needed this one. We're just going to go ahead and put this out there. We had to have this Hawaii win. This was not one that we could have going against us. So yeah, we do have it. That's big. The over before October is still possible. Like we could still do this back-to-back years. But yeah, we really needed this one. So it was good to see Vandy pull this one out.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably the other notable game that I was looking forward to was San Diego State and Ohio, 2 solid Group of 5 programs. And Ohio looked pretty good at the beginning, but then Curtis Rourke, their quarterback, went down early with an injury, and their backup was trash. Like it just wasn't the same once he went out. San Diego State scratches out a 20-13 win, kind of ugly. I don't know. There's a whole lot to take away from it other than if Curtis Rourke is healthy, like I still think Ohio has a good chance. They have a good chance to win the MAC. But yeah, if he's going to struggle with injuries this year, then they're definitely not winning the MAC. I don't know if there's a whole lot else to take away from it.
Yeah, the only thing I was going to say, like Ohio and San Diego State, both of those teams, probably the average fan doesn't know much about them, but like you put either one of these teams like in a Power 5 conference, I think they would surprise people. I really do. I think like say you put Ohio up against like someone in the ACC, I think you would be surprised at how good Ohio is, even though they lost these games. These are teams that they're just kind of sitting outside, kind of on the fringe of where like the casual fan would be really dialed into. You hear about them a little bit, but you don't really you have no idea really who plays for them. These are good football teams, and yeah, San Diego State included. So that's it's something just to keep an eye on. I think when you see some of these teams, like when they get a chance, to shine, kind of like almost like March Madness a little bit. San Diego State and Ohio they're actually really athletic teams, surprisingly athletic.